raise up men like you.
I understand very well. We'll step up operations. Roger.
So before the election of President Trump, I had a senator on from Oklahoma, Republican senator, that was on the air, and he had just written a book that he wrote every year, talking about the poor in the budget. So of course my question is, what have you done about it? You're not doing anything about it. Now this was before Trump had it in. And I said, why aren't the Republicans doing anything? I'm sick and tired of listening to Paul Ryan and to Mitch McConnell talk about what has to get done and nobody doing anything. All the illegal action of Obama, everybody was willing to denounce it on camera, but nobody was going to do anything about it. And we're sick of it. And he started to talk, started to answer me, and I said, wait, excuse me. With all due respect, Senator, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, it's really hard because the media is against us, or you're going to say something to that effect. And he said, you're right, Dan. It's true, Dan. That's the way it is. And I said, here's the problem. Here's the problem. The reason why I emphasized that it was before Trump ran for election. I said, here's the problem. The people that I talk to, and I don't believe anybody's got their finger better on the pulse, particularly of conservative Christians. I'm on 600, I do town hall meetings around the country to see eyeball to eyeball to them. I know what Republicans want. They want to fight. And you guys are so afraid of winning the war that you're not willing to have any battles. And I got news for you. All we want is a battle. And we don't care if we lose the battle. We want somebody that's standing up for us. And you guys aren't doing it. Here comes Donald Trump, right? 6-8 months later. And what's he doing? Standing up for the American people. And they hate him so much because he's a I'm from Philly, as you can tell from my ugly accent. I know that here's a guy, a billionaire from New York City, that can relate to the common Joe better than anybody in Washington, and they despise it because he can rally the common voter quicker than anybody in the world because he relates to it. All the things, and I can remember sitting, my wife and I would laugh, we'd be in the car, we'd hear him, we're laughing because he sounds just like us. We can relate to his sarcasm, we understand it all. But here we had this guy rallying the troops, and I can remember sitting watching him at a speech, saying, please don't say no. But he ended up being right. Over and over again. He's got an instincts that are amazing.
The greatest line that he ever said was, they're not after me, they're after you.
That's true.
Exactly.
And that was, in fact, one of the greatest lines, and it's so true. And everybody, when he said it, believed it, knew it. So here he comes, a guy willing to fight. We still have Republicans that haven't got it yet, that haven't figured out. We got the Jim George, there's a remnant on Capitol Hill for sure, but it's smaller and smaller. But we have some that understand that we've got to fight for the nation. And
So how do we make that change? Because again, these are our elected officials put in office by their own state system. What's going to change that? We have so much against us with the Googles and the Twitters, and they got big media, and they also have the deep state, and they got the deep pockets. We have an uphill battle. And like you said, I agree, we don't have many fighters in the pit.
no. There's a way to change it. There's a way to change it. There's only one way. And we're not moving in that direction. And the American people have to understand that if we want change, it gets done in the primaries, not in the general elections. We're never going to change anything in the stinky general elections if we don't raise up men like you. I don't know what you do or how you do it, but an average guy, if we don't raise up somebody that knows what people want, that understand business and understand a little bit about the economy and those things, if we don't raise up people like that in the primaries, we're never going to change. Nothing's ever going to change because the royal elite of the party are keeping that down. They win at the primaries every single time. Dave Bratt, when he beat Eric Cantor, which I was campaigning for Dave Bratt, the day after he won, he called my program before he went on Fox News to thank me for the win. But he did it with no money. He did it, and the Republican Party of the state of Virginia was telling him, we are not going to support you. You need to get out of this race. You're hurting the Republican Party. We're never going to give you any money. And he stuck with it. He ran. He knocked on every door. He had he won with $101,000. Cantor spent $3 million. And he won. But that's what's got to happen. It's the only thing. We're never going to win with the grand old people of the party.
So let me ask you another question. Because I was in the military. I have friends across the country. Do you think we're getting close to a civil war in the sense that
No, I don't think so. Look, I'm a Vietnam guy. I love this country. That's why I'm so passionate about it. I worked on Wall Street. I'm an economist. I worked on Wall Street. And I was the only guy outside the Beltway in the mid-'80s. I was the only guy outside the Beltway that was managing money inside the Beltway. I had 23 senators, all Republican, that I managed the money, and that's a long story, but I only had one. Something happened, and I got 22 of them. But I know I love this country more than anything. I fought for this country, and I love this country. I think that there are lots of men and women like me who love America too much to have a civil war. I don't think so. I use the term all the time, and I always preface it. We need to raise up and bear arms, not physically, but we need to rise up with our voices, our money, and we need to stand strong, and we need to make change. And I think we can do it without something as crazy as a civil war.
I was in the bar yesterday. It was great because I was meeting conservatives from across the country. And the problem that everybody had was that they listened to all the speakers and that they got no answers. None. No game plan. No answers. It's the same old thing. Rah-rah speech.
And no, they also want, they got no fight. No fight. They got no fight. Did you hear anybody's voice about fight?
Nobody was
really
fired
fighting
up except Margino. Margino was fired up.
Yeah, well, there you go. Former law enforcement guy. Former guy that knows what law enforcement means, what law and order means, what has to happen. It's like the military guys that get up there. They have fight in them. They understand what's on the line. And so many of them only understand what's on the line is their job. I say it all the time, the only thing they care about. So my program's called Financial Issues. I'm talking about the economy, I'm talking about the markets, I'm talking about politics as it relates to those things and how it impacts us.
And we just talked about yesterday that we are at a very detrimental time. We don't have 3 years to wait. And that in the next 6 to 12 months, we have to see change happen quickly, or else we're just going to be too far along for any fight.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Because if we keep going, if we lose the fight that President Trump instilled in us, see, we went to those rallies because of President Trump's fight. We walked away from the rally saying, I'm glad he's doing it because I don't want to do it. That's not what we were saying, but that's probably what most people were feeling. I'm glad he's doing it because I don't want to do it. but we need to want to do what he was doing. I said something, and I caught so much grief about half the stations I'm on are conservative talk, half are Christian conservative talk. And I caught so much grief from the Christian community because I was a Huckabee guy from the beginning. And when Huckabee pulled out of the race, I happened to be a friend of his, so I was campaigning for himself. When he got out, I didn't go to Ted Cruz, and I got so much grief. I had one station to drop me because, and I said, look, we need to beat Hillary. I have nothing against Ted Cruz. I mean, he's fine. It's not a shot at Ted Cruz. We need to beat Hillary, and Trump's the guy that's going to do it. I mean, and so I threw my support to Trump. And, everybody you talk to in the bars and all here and all that, I mean, they're absolutely right. That's what I'm talking about. People want to fight. And when President Trump came into office and they were trying to overturn the Obamacare, I was laughing. I was telling people calling in, what do you think we're going to get? I said, it's a joke. It's a joke. And President Trump, God love him. I'll support him no matter what he does, but he's just a great businessman. And he thinks he's going to win the day through good business. And he's a little naive about politics. But I said on the air, let me explain something to you. Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell took $3.5 million from the healthcare lobby. Do you really think this bill is going to see the light of day? Come on, man. It's never going to happen. They're never going to see it. It's never going to happen, and it never did happen. I love this country. That's why I'm so passionate about it.